Hello and welcome to the TMC Newsroom. My name's Rich Tehrani. Thanks for watching us today. We are at Interrupt 2012. It's May. We are in Las Vegas, Nevada. On our program is a company called Amtel. And Richard Bliss, the CMO of Amtel, is with us. Richard, welcome to the show.
Rich, thanks for having me.
So let's start by talking about what Amtel does.
Amtel kills zombies.
Awesome.
That's what it is. It's awesome. It's what we do.
My whole career I was hoping to eventually meet a company that efficiently kills zombies, or you just kill them? Is it efficient?
It's very efficient.
Excellent. How do you do that?
Well, we have discovered through our audits that any organization of significant size has about 5 to 10% of their mobile devices are zombie phones. And so you want to guess what a zombie phone is?
You totally had me going there.
All right.
You totally had me going.
So a zombie phone is any time that a phone, like if you have a corporate issued device and that employee has permission, when they leave the company and become an ex-employee, they can take it with them.
Right.
Well, what happens is that there's a disconnect between your company and the carrier that's charging you for that phone. And oftentimes, about 5 to 10% of the time, that phone does not get transferred over because it's up to the ex-employee to accept financial responsibility. Sure. Well, the carrier will just keep billing you, and oftentimes companies simply keep paying it. And so what we discover when we go in and do an audit, now, we really do mobile device management is what we do. But when we do an audit for a company on their mobile devices, we'll discover 5 to 10% of those devices are walking dead or buried alive. The buried alive ones are the employee left, gave you the phone, you stuck it in the drawer, told IT or HR, whoever, kill that device, yet it's still in there draining the company's coffers.
Because the carrier hasn't turned it off,
carriers
maybe someone forgot, or they were told and they forgot, it just didn't get done right.
Right, and at 10% of your, a company with 2,000 devices, if they've got 100 of those devices, 2,000 devices, 100 of those devices are zombie phones. At about $100 a pop, you're looking at over $100,000 a year just on those.
Wow.
So we're in the MDM space, which is, as you know, you've had a lot of MDM vendors on here. It's really hot right now, and there's a couple of reasons. One is because it's really easy to do MDM. What kind of phone do you have?
iPhone.
Okay, I've got an iPhone, got one right here. Have you ever gone out and tracked it or locked it or put a password on it?
There's a password on it. I have tracked it, yes.
Right. So you can easily go to iCloud. Apple makes it very possible for the tools to take your device and you can go track it and wipe it and lock it down. If you lose it, you can clean it off.
Right.
Well, think about it. That's exactly what most mobile device management companies do. They try to convince you that they have some secret sauce that allow you to manage this device to do exactly what Apple's allowing you to do as the consumer.
Right.
So the challenge is that for mobile device vendors, how do they make it creative description of doing the exact same thing that every other mobile device management company does? And that's why one reason it's so hot is because there's a lot of mobile devices. The other reason it's hot is because it's not necessarily hard to do mobile device management. The hard part, which you've already kind of been encountered here with Amtel, what we do is we go out and say, I'm not just going to prevent Angry Birds from being on this phone, right? And you're laughing, but you know what that's about. So there's a couple ways we can do that. One, something called geo-tracking, or geofencing, excuse me, not geo-tracking. You set a geographical spot, and then you say 100 meters, 200 meters out. From that spot, when that phone crosses that geo-fence, something happens to the phone. So if people are coming to work, you've given them a device, or they have their own, BYOD is what it's referred to. You can set it up so that when they get within 200 yards of your corporate offices, all game categories are disabled on the phone. And they no longer can use the phone for gaming while they're at work. Go home, it goes back to being normal. So that's called geofencing. So that's one thing that you can do. Something else that we do on the cost side, which is really important, 411 calls. If you've issued corporate phones to your employees, those things will cost you between $2 to $5 a pop. When we do an audit of a client, we'll often encounter $20,000 to $30,000 a year in 411 calls alone. Our MDM solution will actually allow an employer to automatically redirect 411 calls to 1-800-411, which is free, but an employee just doesn't take the time to do it. They just hit 411. So those are a couple of things that we do on the MDM side that makes it a little different than what you're hearing from your normal vendors, because that's the hard stuff. Everybody's saying, oh yeah, I'll track your iPhone for you. Well, yeah, no kidding. Apple let me track my iPhone, thank you very much.
So really there's a lot of hidden costs that you can take out of cell phone bills, and companies, they don't realize it, especially at scale, how much money they're wasting.
Especially at scale, that's the key point, because oftentimes in a larger organization, a university or a corporation, billing of the phone system happens at a departmental level. So billing will send the bill down to the department will look it over, do a mini audit, okay, is this all, and then they'll send back approval, yes, this is our bill, we'll pay it. Well, if you got 200, 300 phones in your organization, that phone bill, nobody wants to go through the phone bill.
Of course.
So they're just assuming that it works. So one other thing, roaming charges. If you get on a plane as an executive and forget to turn off data roaming, and you travel to Europe or South America, you can come back with a hefty fine or a hefty penalty because of all that over roaming. Something that Amtel also does is the ability to alert the traveling executive and the IT department or finance, hey, this phone's about to leave international boundaries, whatever country you happen to be in. Disable the international roaming data plan or set it up so that you have an international data roaming plan that's more in line with your roaming. So yeah, there's all kinds of things that'll happen with MDM. The reason you have so many vendors in the space though is because they're just focused on the security side. We can stop Angry Birds, we can track the device, we can manage apps on it. Well, that's like one piece of the entire story.
So you talked in the beginning about the zombie phones. How do you know that you've got zombie phones? You just see phones with no activity? Is that how you determine?
That's one way. So what we do is we have a relationship with all the major carriers and a lot of them internationally as well, here in the US and internationally. So what happens is when we do an audit, you send us your phone bill. And then we work with the carrier to identify zero usage phones, Z phones, or zombie phones. And usually it's a 3-month time period that we will look at that to make sure that no usage has happened on that.
Right.
And we also can do that for landlines as well, because organizations, I know this sounds crazy, will lose track of their landlines too.
Sure, makes sense.
Because the company's growing, they don't know.
That's really the telecom expense management side of things, or wireless expense management side of things.
And that's where we came out of. And what you're seeing in the MDM space right now is vendors kind of showing their true colors, where they came from. So many of the vendors, it's dominated by security. I mean, they're coming from the security side. They're thinking, oh, I got to stop a virus from getting on my iPhone, because that's the space and the mentality they have. We come from the expense management side. What can we do to make this thing pay for itself, our solution pay for itself in the first 30 days, so that you can afford all those other cool things, turning off Angry Birds.
Now what's next?
What's next? You're seeing more and more of the ability to manage and control these devices, so you're going to continue to see that happen. But we're almost reaching a point where there's not much more I can do with it until vendors like Apple open it up and let me have more access to the data inside.
Like, it'll be very tough for you to geofence an iPhone, right? I would imagine, because you don't have control.
We can do it, but there are limitations and there's challenges because of the iOS and the limitations that Apple puts on what you can do with that and how much data you can access from that device.
Okay. Fantastic. Well, thanks for being here. This was great, Rich.
Rich, my pleasure. Thanks.